Alright, cool. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robert Dorky, thank you for coming back. We are going to be talking about another SJW today, and it's one of my favorite ones. I've never talked about her on this channel, but she's still one of my favorites. We're going to be talking about Riley Jenness at some point, because one of my fans commented about her, so I know at least one of you wants to watch a video about that one. I finally figured it out. I figured out how I'm going to talk about Quinby Stewart, otherwise known as Milo. And I was gonna do one video, like talk about one of her videos, but there's too many to choose from. And what do you do when you find a gold mine? You try to get as much of it as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna talk about maybe one or two or three videos today. First one we're gonna skip through is the one where she says, you know, she changed her name to Quinby Stewart. The only reason for changing her name that she gives us is being compared to Milo Yiannopoulos, which she said that it was, quote, bad for her mental health. And she also probably doesn't want to be called Milo because everybody hates whoever this Milo chick is. And it would probably be a good idea for her to change her name for that reason too. But she doesn't say that, of course.
I've been going by the name Milo Stewart for about 3 years now. I originally found the name Milo, I think, on a name of hipster baby names or something.
No surprise.
It was actually on a list with Pancreas. Apparently, some people have named their children Pancreas.
What is that? I mean, you have nothing else to say? I don't write amazing jokes all the time, but it's like, this is her reaction to everything. She's like, well, apparently some people name their babies Pancreas. She does that with everything. Apparently Trump got elected. Somebody said Hillary doesn't actually like refugees.
But when I was deciding to go by Milo, I was
skipping it.
My thigh, but I am thinking about changing my name. I hope you like it. It's snowing in Chicago. We're all going to die anyway, so I guess I might as well just say the thing that I have been putting off saying.
You also been putting it off for the past 2 minutes.
My name. Not legally. I'm not to the point where I am able to do that yet, although I will be changing it legally soon. Regardless, you can still call me by Quinby now. Acceptable nicknames include QB or Cube.
Acceptable nicknames. These are acceptable, because if you call her anything else, that's unacceptable. I don't know who is gonna punish you for that, but it's unacceptable. You can't call her anything else.
I prefer to not be called Quinn or any other variation that you can come up with. Either Quinby, QB, or Cube.
We're gonna call her Quinn. We have to at this point. I mean, you kind of set a precedent. Here are some entry-level tips for anybody that deals with another human being in social interactions, i.e. everybody. If you're offended by something, you know, maybe somebody calling you Quinn instead of Quinby, don't tell them that they're not allowed to tell you that. Not only will the bullies jump on that and call you Quinby, also nobody that stands for free speech is going to call you by Quinby after you tell them, no, you can't call me Quinn. Well, I'm gonna call you Quinn now. Just my tip from me to you, Milo or Quinn, don't let people know you're offended. And later on, maybe you can advance and evolve into somebody that doesn't get offended at everything. But for now, really try to pull it back.
I still like the name Milo. I think I might keep it as a second middle name. I might be Quinby Milo Birch Stewart, or it might be just Quinby Birch Stewart.
I'm not even listening at this point. I think we need to watch another video. But before we click away, just in case her hair is different, I bet you anything that this girl has made fun of Trump's hair on multiple occasions throughout the past year. That's all I got. Let's go to the next video.
I was walking past a cemetery the other day, and I saw some people standing around a grave in the cemetery. It didn't look like a funeral, so I decided to go into the cemetery and check out what they were doing. I walk over to this grave, and the person who seems to be leading this little gathering tells me, "Excuse me, young man, you need to stand back. We are digging up a coffin here." And I responded, "Excuse me? Did you just exhume my gender?" Hey, if you're going to make jokes about transgender people, can you at least make them funny? Like, make some jokes that binary and non-binary trans people can laugh at? Please and thank you.
Yeah, you gotta be inclusive to all these binary and non-binary people. Whatever that is. If you don't know what that is, though, you're oppressing... funny bone. You are oppressing people of non-binary and binary faith or something. You should not oppress them. So before you watch this video, you need to educate yourself, find out what these things are, report back to me, because I want to know too, but I don't want to spend the time researching. Tell me in the comments what those are. And then after that, you can watch this video. You'll have the privilege of watching Quinn on her YouTube channel.
This has been a PSA.
For the next few minutes, you're going to be hearing a girl or something talk about what it feels like to be triggered. I'm going to be triggered because every time I watch a video from this person, Quinn, I remember how my ex-girlfriend talked. You know, a little fun fact about me is I dated a pseudo third-wave feminist for 2 years, and she talked exactly like this person. It is really hard to listen to because she is very condescending. She has a very specific way of talking because not only is it condescending, but she's trying to get you to agree with her and not giving you information. It's just a very specific, narrowed down way of Tumblrina speak that usually comes from hipster, skinny people that spent too much time on Tumblr. Alright, now that I have all my mansplaining out of the way, we're gonna watch this video. And it's gonna be great. Because we're gonna learn about what it's like to be triggered.
So, trigger warnings. Trigger warnings are extremely controversial, and there's something that almost everyone online has opinions about. If you're watching this video, you probably have your own opinions about trigger warnings. The conversations that I see around trigger warnings tend to center
oh, that's comfortable. That's comfortable, because I'm a man.
About if you're watching this video, you probably have your own opinions about trigger warnings.
Fiddlesticks. Why do people have to have their own opinions? Why? It would be so much easier if I could just speak to the camera and have everybody in the comment section just agree with everything I said. Wouldn't it be a much more fun world if we didn't have discussions about all of these things? It would be so great.
Trigger warnings. I feel like people really don't understand how trigger warnings actually work and what it means to be triggered.
Okay, she feels like people don't actually understand like what it means to be triggered and what trigger warnings really mean. How stupid does she think people are? Really? Milo or Quinn? People understand what trigger warnings are. We just think they're stupid as fuck. Get this. In colleges where safe spaces are becoming more and more popular, we have people that aren't growing. Ironically, in institutions where we are going to be transitioning from high school into the real world, where we need to be actual fucking grown-ass adults. Now, what a trigger warning does, and what all these safe spaces do, is shield us from having our beliefs questioned and challenged. So why the fuck do you think that when people have a problem with trigger warnings and people talking about fucking getting triggered, why when people are calling out that and saying it's a bunch of bullshit, why do you think that people just don't understand what trigger warnings are? We understand, they're not that complicated. People don't want their beliefs challenged. If people disagree with you, don't assume that they don't know what they're talking about. Don't end the debate by saying they just don't understand the subject and dismiss them. That's so fucking insulting. And it just shows that you don't deserve to even have a voice in the debate. If you're gonna try to silence other people, get the fuck out. Leave the room.
A joke online that just completely...
Sorry guys, I got a little bit triggered there for a second. Ironic.
First and foremost, Being triggered is different from being offended. Whereas you can somewhat choose to or to not be offended by something, being triggered is completely involuntary. Being triggered inhibits your ability to focus on whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing or supposed to be thinking or talking about.
I really gotta organize my room. I got this card for my birthday from my grandparents. It's so sweet. Look at this. What are we doing right now? Oh shit, we're watching Quinn. I don't know what just happened. I was getting triggered by this girl and the way that she talks, and then I blacked out, and then I was walking around my room, and then I found that motivational birthday card from my grandparents. By the way, I love you guys if you're watching. And maybe it's true that people do get distracted when they get triggered. Maybe we can agree on this, Quinn. I don't think she's ever gonna watch this, but I hope that it was entertaining for you, Quinn, if you watch this. Hope to see you in the next video, for sure.
Someone is debating you or arguing you or acting offended, they're probably not triggered. Being triggered is a damaging emotional response, usually related to anxiety or PTSD or a lot of other mental illnesses.
Alright, I do want this video to be funny and entertaining, but for a second I want to drop in some really boring life experience. She's talking about PTSD and triggers and stuff like that and how it's completely different than getting mildly offended. A lot of people will hear that and they'll agree with you, but things like light and dark, love and hate, they aren't separate things. Like, they aren't completely different categories. They're the same thing. They're on a line. It's a degree. Just like you say genders are all on a line. They are on opposite ends of the spectrum, but I live my life thinking that everything is a degree, on a degree. I mean, down to an atomic and quantum level, things are all vibrating at different degrees, thus the variety that we get in the universe. And I think that, you know, the thing she's saying about PTSD and triggering and how it's completely different, it's not the same at all, to getting mildly offended, well, it's a little bit misleading to her viewers, and I just wanted to drop that in there and just be like, well, getting mildly offended is on the spectrum of getting triggered, and even having like anxiety and things like PTSD, those are on the same spectrum, and I'm not saying that they're close on the same spectrum. I'm saying that she's being misleading and saying that, you know, they aren't degrees of each other. And my point for saying this is if you let yourself get mildly offended at everything, one thing after another, you will turn out to have more anxiety. There may be studies that say that, but I'm just saying it because it agrees with my common sense. That's my own life experience. Let's continue with the funny jokes.
Triggered can include having anxiety attacks or flashbacks, but those are things that I don't really experience, so where I'll just have really, really extremely heavy emotions where I'll probably cry or have really, really harmful thoughts or urges of self-harm. For me, if I am triggered,
This is a little bit edgy, but I've always believed that not 100% of people who say that they have problems with self-harm or have thoughts about it have the problem.
I was triggered to my therapist and I described it kind of like dissociating, and then she used a different word to describe it, but I forget what it was. But it was kind of like, if you know what a
You forgot what it was because you didn't hear the word on Tumblr first.
dolly zoom is, it's when the camera dollies in while zooming out at the same time, or vice versa, and then it kind of looks like the background is distorted, like it's shrinking. So one time when I was triggered, it felt like my vision was doing like a dolly zoom on me, that coupled with very intense emotions. What trigger warnings do for me and why they are helpful is that they allow
Okay. To anybody that's paying attention, it would appear that SJWs experience all the same emotions that you see and you get from those dramatic and traumatic scenes in classic cinema. And I'm going to show you what she's talking about. Are they all liars, or is this what they truly experience? That's what it feels like to be triggered by somebody who disagrees with you.
So they actually allow me to engage in more conversations than I would be able to without trigger warnings. I hope that is helpful in some way.
It definitely was helpful. It helped me make a great video, and I hope you guys liked it. I hope it made a couple of you laugh. Maybe it made you cry. Maybe it made you cringe. Most of you probably cringed. I hope it was entertaining. I hope maybe it was even informative. Join me in the next video. We're gonna have a fun time. Subscribe to the channel. It's gonna be great. Hit the bell button to notify yourself when I actually do release a new video so you don't miss any of this awesome high quality shit. And yeah, let's let her finish. We gotta let her finish.
It's important to remember that there are real people who find trigger warnings useful, and people who you see in those triggered memes are not actually triggered in that instance, although they may deal with the triggers in their lives. I don't know them. I will put some more resources about trigger warnings and being triggered in the description that you can check out, because I'm not an expert on the topic by any means. I could have mislabeled something of my own experiences as being triggered when it wasn't.
You see here that she's clarifying, I'm not an expert. Let me give a disclaimer, because she knows that Tumblrinas will come after her if she doesn't have everything right. It has to be all correct. She has to have read every single Tumblr post there is. And if she doesn't, she better disclaim that she's not an expert on trigger warnings. That's something to be proud of, by the way, if you're not an expert on trigger warnings.
Being triggered when it wasn't.
Quinn, why aren't you giving me the same classic Milo that we've all known to come and love? You have this way of speaking that reminds me of my ex, and it's such a wonderful thing. It's not triggering at all. We're gonna have to watch another video real quick just to hear how she talks. We're not gonna roast the video, and for once we're gonna actually absorb some of the content.
One is one out of many.
I thought we were not going to roast this video. I'm not going to do it, but holy shit, I forgot about the intro. She got rid of it. I think enough people just made fun of her for that, and she was like, well, it triggered me, and I'm going to let everybody know that I was offended by it. I'm going to just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Okay, let's do what we came here to do. We came here to listen how she talks. It's pretty ridiculous. It's so eerily similar to how my ex-girlfriend talked. Let's listen.
Good morning, lovely viewers. I am not going to call you easily offended millennials in this video, because this video is about not caring about who you offend, just by being you. A lot of people try to tell me that my gender is not real, or I'm not really trans, whatever that means.
This is somebody that's triggered by the fact that the Tumblrina community won't accept her because they aren't very accepting. And they say, well, and this is, I'm on their side about this. They're saying, Milo, you're not trans. You're not taking the hormones. You probably don't even identify as the opposite gender. Stop saying you're trans. It's devaluing like what we're all about. I'm on their side about that. Because she just wants to be in the fucking community. She wants to be hip and cool. And I am making that statement. I am going out on a limb. And I'm saying that she just wants to be cool. Might not have the proof, but I understand psychology. And what the proof would be is basically her saying the things that I just said. So I'm just gonna have some fun, make some speculations.
Because of how I dress, albeit fairly androgynous and very cute.
You are entitled to think that something's cute, but we're also entitled to think the opposite. It's not really that cute, but that's fine. What's your point?
And because of how I identify myself and how I express my gender. But let me tell you, people who try to tell you that you being you is wrong do not know what they're talking about.
Here's how they talk when they're triggered. It's glorious. It's absolute gold. And thank God for YouTube.
There is no right or wrong way to experience a gender. That is because we all experience.
Alright, that's about it. I think you got a good example of what my ex used to talk like. I don't know if she still talks like that. Again, she probably found this person, decided, I don't want to sound like that. It sounds condescending, and she just sounds like an absolute idiot. That is my video on Milo, or Quinn. She provided some excellent comedic gold for us to riff on. In the next video, I hope you join me, we're going to be talking about Riley Jenkins, or Riley Jenner. We're going to do a great video on him. Join me next time. I hope to see you there. Comment down below to share your thoughts. Subscribe to see that next video. Wrapping this up, thank you guys so much for being so supportive, mature, and funny in the comments section. It's always a delight to open my phone. I never thank you, but it's always fun to open my phone and read your comments and talk with you back and forth. Thank you for just being cool. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great night. See you in the next one. And as always, dork it up. That was really gay. Oh, was that offensive?